Okay, guys, so eating until you're 80% full and reframing hunger. So there's kind of two parts to this habit, and this is perhaps the most important habit that you can master to get lean and stay lean and really just have kind of control over all parts of your life and just have a better quality of life. So eating until you're 80% full is pretty simple. It's just not eating until you're full, eating until you're 80% full, right? So think about how much you usually eat and eat about 80% of that, right? It's basically just getting in the habit of just feeling a little bit more comfortable, eating a little bit less, and eating until you're satisfied, not like stuffed, right? So you get to the point where you eat and you're like, I could eat more, but I could not as well. I'm not full. I'm just not hungry anymore. So it's something to just kind of practice and get used to. But a really important part of this that makes that habit a lot easier, just kind of eating a little bit less, is reframing hunger. And what I mean about that reframing is changing the way you look at hunger. Because if you think about it, in Western culture, we're very much taught that eating until you're full is just like a great feeling, right? Like, I'm so stuffed. Oh, I'm so full. This is so great. And then if you're hungry at all, like you have just like a little bit of emptiness in your stomach, you're starving. Like, oh, I'm starving. I'm so hungry, right? And no matter how much you exercise or how much you improve your diet, if we are always addicted to the feeling of like feeling full, eating, and we are always running away from this feeling of hunger, even just a slight bit of hunger, we'll never get lean and be able to stay lean, right? Because we'll always just want more food. So one thing that we can do is change the way that we look at hunger, right? What we want to do is make it to where feeling stuffed and full is something that we don't like, and something that we look at when we feel hunger. I'm not saying when we're starving, but when we are just kind of, feel like we could eat, we're kind of hungry, our stomach's empty, that's something that's good. We can change the way we look at things, because if we start to lean towards that and actually enjoy that feeling, and we run away and we dislike the feeling of feeling full, like stuffed, it's going to make things a lot easier for us, right? So here's just some tips that you can use to reframe hunger and the way you look at it. First thing to understand is like what hunger actually is, right? When you feel hunger, you feel some actual real hunger is when you feel some in your stomach, not in your brain. When you feel it in your brain, that's just you're bored, right? That's what we call like fake hunger. When you're actually hungry, you kind of feel it in your stomach. And that does not mean you're starving. It just means that, maybe you should eat in the next 30 minutes or an hour, etc. Right? So you can look at it and be like, okay, I should eat soon. I don't need to eat now. I'll wait till my next meal. And a lot of times it comes in waves too. So you feel it, and then you're just like, okay, cool. You just notice it, and then it passes, right? A really important thing is not to say I am hungry, but say I'm noticing the feeling of hunger, right? Because if you say you're hungry, it just like overwhelms you. You're like, oh, I have to eat. But if you're like, oh, I noticed that I'm having this sensation of hunger, you can kind of look at it objectively and think like, okay, cool, I'll eat in 30 minutes or an hour. Maybe you have a while to eat. Maybe you need a snack, maybe. So that's one thing to think about, is it's just a cue for you to eat at some point. It's like a reminder, right? And a lot of times if you eat often all the time, you'll get hunger cues even when you don't need them, because your body's just used to eating all the time. So that's something important as well. Another thing is when we are feeling hungry, right, and we're in what we call a fasted state, meaning we're not eating anything, a lot of great health benefits are happening, right? So first, when you feel that hunger, that means that you're not digesting food at the moment, which means that your body is able to work on other things other than digesting food, right? Like your immune system, repairing muscles, all these other great things, right? If you think about it, like when you're sick, you lose your appetite. Why? If you have a stomach bug, that's different, but a lot of times you lose your appetite when you're sick, because your body's like, hey, let's like chill out on the digesting food. We need to put more energy into repairing other parts of our body, right? So your cells regenerate, your immune system is heightened. A lot of great things are happening when you're not digesting food and you're in that fasted state. Another thing is when you're in a fasted state, you are giving your digestive tract a chance to rest, right? Your digestive tract is a muscle, and when you overeat and you eat too often, it gets overworked, just like a muscle. Like if you go to the gym and work out 5 times a day, every day, you're gonna break down and kind of overwork your muscles and shut down, right? So giving your time to digest less food is really important to improving your gut health. You might have heard of gut health before, and just improving your insulin sensitivity, all these great things, right? Another thing to think about, the last kind of really important thing here, is that when you are not eating and you're in that fasted state, you don't have as much food to burn for energy. So when you are when you are moving around on kind of an empty stomach, you're burning off fat reserves rather than using whatever food, right? So the way I look at it is when I feel that sensation of hunger, instead of being like, oh, I'm starving, I can look at it and be like, okay, cool. Like a lot of great things are happening. I'm healing my body. I'm like burning off some extra fat. I'm giving my my body or my digestive tract a chance to heal. And then when I'm full, I don't like that anymore, right? Because I just feel sluggish and gross, and I just feel a lot extra stuff that I know it's going to be really hard for my digestive tract to digest. A lot of that excess is going to go into just like making me tired. It's going to move into fat, etc. Right? So you kind of change those things, and you start to lean into the feeling of feeling kind of more of an empty stomach because you enjoy it, all the benefits of it because there are real benefits, and you kind of start to shy away from this like overeating feeling that you've been so taught is so often is good because this doesn't feel as great, right? And then there's some other benefits as well, right? So you probably already went through looking at your values and what's important to you, but based on like who you want to be and what your goals and your values and the skills you need to want to develop, you can use fasting or kind of working on your hunger and reframing your hunger as a great tool to develop you as a person, right? So depending on your beliefs or what's important to you, you can look at every time you feel that kind of hunger and you don't just randomly snack, you can look at that as an opportunity to like build discipline, right? Because if you can build discipline there, if you can say no to a snack when you just kind of want to eat, you can also build discipline in every other area of your life, right? Whether it's saying, no to something else or yes to something else, or just having the discipline to do things when your body is or your mind is telling you something else, right? So it's an opportunity to improve discipline and just build character too. I mean, in every religious or spiritual cultures that are out there, fasting has been something that's really important. It's something that builds character, builds discipline, and it's a great way to kind of like reconnect with yourself and whatever's important to you, right? Rather than just compulsively eating. So there's like a lot of things that we can look and benefits that we can use to create intrinsic motivation around reframing hunger, around fasting, around just kind of eating less, that can really, really motivate us, right? So all those things are incredibly important. And I'm not saying that you should like enjoy starving yourself, right? And that you should like, it's terrible to eat, like stuff yourself or whatever, right? But it's just getting in the habit of it's okay to eat what I need and not any more than that, right? There's a little test you can use as well. I call it the apple test. Because I don't really know anybody who really like loves apples. Some people like them. It's just kind of like an apple. It's whatever, right? But one of my things, if I'm not sure if I'm actually hungry, I'll ask myself, am I hungry enough to eat an apple? If so, I'll eat an apple, have an apple nearby. If not, I'm probably not hungry and I'm just bored, right? That's just an example that can be very helpful to kind of help you understand, if you're actually hungry or not, right? And when you do feel that hunger and you're like, I don't want an apple, but I also still want Pop-Tarts or whatever, chips, you can be like, okay, no, this is a great opportunity to just kind of like say, I'm noticing I'm having this craving. I'm noticing I want to eat more. I don't need it. I'm just going to like let that go, right? It's just hunger is just like a cloud that kind of passes by. It's there and you just kind of watch it go by, right? So all these things are incredibly important. And with all of the habits moving forward, if we can change the way that we see it, without changing the actual habit, it's change the way we see it, we can dramatically improve our relationship with it, right? Like, for example, most people don't like the feeling of pain, right? But when people start going to the gym and they have sore muscles, that's painful, or in the actual workout is painful, but they've changed the way they look at the pain. They've changed their relationship with that pain. And instead of saying, oh, I have a pain, I need to go to see the doctor, or I hate this, or I need to numb this, they almost look forward to it. And a lot of them do look forward to it. They say, oh, I'm sore. Oh, it feels, because they know that means growth. That means they're getting stronger, etc. They got a good workout, right? So they take the same thing, which is pain, they change the relationship around it, and it completely goes from something they run away from to something they run towards, right? So As I said, this is maybe the most important habit that you can really master, and that's why it's one of the first habits I really encourage, is eating until 80% full, eat a little bit less, get more comfortable with that, and then reframe the way you look at hunger, and just having kind of an empty stomach. And also change the way you look at like being full, right? Notice the benefits of it. And it's not going from 0 to 100 right now, right? But just looking at where you're at and just pushing yourself to go a little bit longer without eating, eat a little bit less. One of those times that you have a craving, one of those times say no, right? And just kind of build up that discipline and build that up and change the way you look at it so you're intrinsically motivated to really engage with the habit and therefore improve or reap all the benefits of it. So hope that made sense. If you have any questions about it, let me know. Always happy to chat more.